that we will not be able to attend the service at Arlington. We really wanted to be there. I wrote a small speech to read at the service or celebration of life, so I am sending a copy to you to post or read. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. We will see you at a time when this awful virus subsides. And when Holly had her breast cancer surgery, she and her husband came and sat with us while Holly had her surgery. Okay, this is what she wrote. My friend Quarter. Quarter was loved by his sweet wife Karen, his children, many Scotties, his Kaiser Permanente Woodbridge staff, and his patients. We worked together on many difficult management decisions. Our lunchtime we usually spent with our staff, and we enjoyed celebrating special times and holidays with the entire center staff. I feel fortunate that the most pleasant and productive time at my Kaiser Permanente career was with Quarter at Woodbridge. Who knew that the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force could work so well together on dry land? God bless you. Marion Klein and her, she was Air Force. Okay.
A lesser service.
All right. All right. Now the other one. This is from the lady who is the president of the Scottish Terrier Club of America, and she lives not too far from here. And she said, "Thank you for thinking of me to be included in the service and Quarter's celebration of life. I sorely regret that I will not be able to be with you and your family tomorrow. I was really trying to make it work, but unfortunately I cannot be with you. So please forgive my late response. Please know that I'll be there in Scottish spirit. You both have a very special place in my heart, and always Quarter. Please let Heather know I am thinking of her as well, because she knows Heather." Okay, so those are the two messages. And then the other thing, there are 3 people who aren't here who really would have liked to have been here, and I included them in the obit. The one was his friend Don Harshman, who was his roommate 3 years in college, and then they roomed together. They had an apartment together in Seattle, in Bellevue actually, while Quarter was in medical school before we got married. Are you videoing?
Of course I am.
Okay. He's 84. He lives in Kirkland, Washington, and he's right by the nursing home where they first had the COVID cases, and he has not gone out of his house since March. But he calls all the time, and he and Quarter would talk 3 or 4 times a year, and all they would do was yuck it up about all the crap they did at the University of Idaho. And Heather's met him. Scott and Carrie probably don't remember him. He was in her wedding, and he was just the funniest guy. And he said to please be sure and tell you all that he was sorry that he can't be, but he has gone out of his house since March. Second one is Susan Tusa, who a lot of you know because she came to, she and her husband came to Heather's wedding, and she was at Noelle and Mike's wedding.
And I visited her in
And
Seattle.
you visited her, and the boy, when she lived in Baltimore, we would see her quite often. And she's got her 3rd cancer diagnosis in 18 months, and so they had tickets to come, and she said, you know, she can't come, and she is so sorry. But I have known her since she was 18, and Quarter's known her pretty much that whole time, and she was our maid of honor when we got married. Okay, the other one is Mary Jane Morgan, who Larry knows real well, and Heather and Noelle know her, right? Okay. We're related by dog. She had two of our Scotties, and she and her husband are the ones that we went to Ireland and Scotland with, and then to France. And she was adopted, and when we decided to do our DNA, she decided she was going to do her DNA just to find out medical history. That's all she cared about. Well, she found her family, and they were not real thrilled about her. And she has a half sister who said, you know, I don't even want to believe that my mother gave up a baby for adoption. Actually, her mother gave up 2 babies for adoption. But I don't even want to believe this. And, you know, I don't even want to know you. And this was while we were on the cruise to France. And Quarter sat there and said, you know, I always wanted a sister. He said, I would be really proud to be your sister, you know, that you would be my sister. So he considered her his sister. And she is in Mississippi, and she just didn't feel like she could come up for this. She's the only one that's healthy, but she just didn't feel that she could come. So anyway, and for those of you who don't know, we were just talking about this, that your ancestors went west with the Mormons and with a hand truck, and had 3 wives. And they know this.
Is that all? I thought there were more.
No, there were 3.
They weren't too bright. I can just say that right now.
And the one that was their great-grandmother was wife number 2, and wife number 1 and 3 were sisters. And
Sister wife.
and they were, yeah, and so then their great-grandmother was the one in the middle. And when we got all the genealogy from their aunt, why, we were out one night. Aunt Vonda, who is still alive, the only one of the family who's still alive, and she sent this, and so I'm reading it, and I realized that, oh hey, we had a polygamist in the family. Well, we kind of suspected it anyway, but Quarter was out struggling with the Christmas tree, trying to get it in the stand and make it stand upright. And he said, well, he was a better man than I am. You know, I can't even get this damn Christmas tree to stand up.
Tree Galactica?
No, this was when we were at home, and I can't even get this Christmas tree to stand up. And I can't deal with one wife and 5 kids and however 7 dogs or whatever, you know, he was a better man than I was. And so you all have this Mormon heritage, which some of us kind of
Cringe at.
Yes.
Others embrace.
Yeah. But they were always really good to us, and I mean to Quarter and me. His one aunt lived in Oakland, and when we were there, and she would babysit Heather and Holly and Noelle when we needed her to, and she was just, this was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stewart's sister, and we hear from 3 cousins, and so they're you know, they've been really good to us, even though none of us are Mormon. But anyway,
There's always hope.
and I think the rest of you all know that the other side of the family went west on the Oregon Trail and ended up in Boise on the Oregon Trail and selling horses and supplies and stuff, and you all know Quarter was so proud of his Idaho heritage, as these 2 are, and you should all be, because they were there did they get married 1864? But please know that my great-grandmother was born in the Oregon Territory in 1847. So my family was in Oregon before their family was in Idaho. And you all know that it's Oregon, not Oregon, and that it's Boise, not Boise. And so if you put the Z in there,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. You are wrong. You are wrong.
Ain't from around these parts, are you?
Yeah, you're not around from these parts, and this other, when the Challenger blew up, and it was on TV, and they were talking about where all the people were from, the Challenger, and they were saying the pilot is from this small town in Washington, and Carter and I were talking on the phone, and I said it's from one of those Indian towns that nobody knows how to pronounce, and they're trying to find out, you know, how to pronounce this name before they put it on TV, and and it was I think it was Puyallup that the pilot was from, that nobody knew. So it's just like around here, you got to know how to pronounce the Indian names, right? Yeah. And so that's I appreciate you all. I love you all, and Carter was so proud of all of you, and I'm so glad Scott and Carrie and Laurencia can be here, and Larry could be here. You know, I didn't. You all know, most of you know Larry. He was the four that are family, because he was so good and visited Carter almost every day. And he's also related by dog.
Well, here's to us, and here's to Quarter.
Quarter.
So if anybody wants to say anything else, you can. But that's mine.
Yeah, I think I do.
Uh-oh.